Let me start off by saying how great it is when watching this 3-hour neo-noir movie that it's really all coming from Batman's perspective. We follow him utilizing his forensic skills on the scene of the crime, prowling the streets as either Batman or Anonymous, solving riddles just as fast as Adam West did, and figuring out how all the pieces are connected together. We see him working together with James Gordon and Catwoman. We see him fight mobsters and integrate gangsters. Finally, a Batman reigns as the true lead star of his own movie, and the villains aren't still in the spotlight. This gothic architectural cyber-neon renaissance Gotham is the coolest fictional city I've seen in a long time. It does remind me of the video game Arkham Knight with its neon lights and constant terrain, a city so colorful and rich but so rotted from the inside. There are only a few movies quite like this visually, and those that came to my mind are science fiction legend Blade Runner and the cult comic book movie The Crow. Whether it's Detroit in the 90s or Los Angeles in 2019 or Gotham in 2020s, these dystopian cities look like a dream and feel like a nightmare. Where Christopher Nolan balanced the Caped Crusaders' two personas, making Bruce Wayne as equally important to the Holy War, this Bruce Wayne is just a hollow shell, who barely has a spark of life in him. Even when he's amongst his trusted butler, he only comes alive when he and the ex-MI6 agent are solving crime cases together. The once military man has trained Bruce Wayne into a perfect agent. He's quick, highly intelligent, talented with his craftsmanship, and capable fighter on his own. This do-it-yourself batsuit is filled with gadgets that ranges from combat knives to wingsuits to even homemade Venom adrenaline shots. Or perhaps that juice is from a Lazarus pit. Man, just imagine how more advanced Wayne could build if he crossed paths with Lucius Fox. The Batmobile he builds is great too, and true to the comic form. Too many Batmobiles have been nothing more than toy commercials, but now that children rather play mobile games and waste their parents' credit money, movies can ignore the toy sales aspect of production and focus on delivering quality. I hadn't seen a chase scene this stylistically beautiful since Nicholas Winding Refn's Too Young to Die Old. However, speaking of style, I know Zack Snyder is one of the most influential and iconic directors on the industry, but we really don't need to make out-of-focus shots as the new Flame's lair, okay? Let the clowns and zombies be out of focus, but allow me to see the Riddler's crimes, Matt. While the Wayne murders are never shown on screen, their presence is felt through the movie. Bruce is haunted by the events and his wounds are still fresh. Robert Pattinson suggested that maybe Batman goes out to fight petty talk because he's trying to relive the experience of Crime Alley, perhaps hoping he could somehow bring back his parents, or die in the gutters like them. Gotham faces many problems in the city, and even Batman hasn't seen the big picture yet. 2 years of haunting Gotham within the shadows has given him a reputation of fear and vengeance. The nocturnal animal has focused his attention on petty street crime to stopping drug trade here and there. Now, for the first time in his career, the Batman is going to cross the Falcone crime family with his heavy boots. The war on drugs was a recipe for subverting the police and judicial systems of countries where drug use is widespread, with tens of billions of dollars in hidden monopoly profits piling up each year. Drug dealers have the means, as well as the incentive, to corrupt even apparently stable countries and cities. This is the reality we are facing, and director Matt Reeves demonstrates this by revealing how Falcone has been the shadow mayor for Gotham. For 20 years, utilizing both money coming from drugs as well as taxpayer money by abusing the Wayne Renewal Act Foundation, with money being laundered in the direction of the mob. No wonder it's a world where fiat money has lost all its value. When a tax accountant working in a high-end consultant firm can't afford a house cleaning maid or a better apartment at Gotham City, you know Gotham's dollars have all depreciated in value. This is what enrages the Riddler. His childhood and future were stolen by the mob, and he wants vengeance. From the trailers, I was worried they were making Riddler into some kind of a social justice warrior who could have taken the role of an anti-Batman foe. Indeed, this version of the Riddler does share some familiar traits that popular anti-Batman foes like Bane, Rat, King Owlman, or the fabulous Killer Moth share. Fortunately, behind that self-righteous fist of social justice, Paul Dano portrays us the classic Riddler. Immature brat who releases his rage against the modern world by murdering and torturing people. He wants to be like the Batman, but he's just an incel. Behind all those clever puns and riddles, he's just a self-centered sociopath who wishes the world would love him, while he doesn't even love himself. Director Matt Reeves, inspired by the drastically changing and escalating world of post-2016, shows how devious and destructive white incel men can become toward society. Because modern audiences have already accustomed themselves to criminals in tights and suits, it's not supervillains Batman is facing anymore, but nowadays it's domestic terrorists. That's what we are afraid of today. Not the slow rise of urban crime rates that we might face daily in a bad neighborhood. It's the terrorists and extremists we are afraid of. This is what happens when modern millennials and zoomers do nothing but consume media and live alone with their thoughts. They get a screwed and thick view of the world. They try to understand the world by reading fringe online forums, where they learn to cite either Friedrich Nietzsche or Vladimir Putin. Narrow-minded losers with nothing but contempt to offer. Now, I can understand their rage, as Riddler indeed solves the big mystery behind Gotham's corruption, but like school shooters, they decide it's not the iceberg lounge they shoot us out with explosives and rifles. It's to attack the innocent bystanders. Children and women are meant to be murdered because of their crime of ignorance, while these terrorists then let the Gotham underbelly pick up the pieces and reign supreme. The movie also touches on the topic of hero worship. Whether you're idolizing your father or a caped crusader, only you can make an impact on yourself, and before you start criticizing the world or trying to save it, you start with yourself, cleaning up your room. One clinical psychiatrist tried to warn us all about the importance of cleaning up our rooms. Did anyone notice how both the Riddler and Catwoman lived in awfully dirty apartments? If only we had all listened, but now it's too late. Gotham has paid its price. Even the Riddler admits he has the brains, but not the brawls. He needs to start exercising in that Arkham cell to get his redemption story arc happening. Every man is capable of greatness, and it would be amazing if we get to see Riddler rise like a phoenix. Everybody loves a comeback story, right? And that's the lesson of the movie. Clean up your room and sort yourself out. If Matt Reeves was truly inspired by the changing world of post-2016, then should the sequel take inspirations from the chaotic period that is the 2020s? It's been 3 years and we have faced a deadly pandemic, with a virus and government enforcements making people wary and tense. These themes invoke the sense of loneliness, anxiety, and fear of death. Scarecrow would be the perfect villain to haunt people with their fears, while Batman wants to present the hope for a better tomorrow. To top it all off, Russia is now invading Ukraine, so looks like Russian villains are back on the movie villain list, boys. Let's get Batman fighting good old KGBs in a brawl match for Western values. That's all I have to say about this movie. Next, I will be making my top 5 recommended comics to read after the Batman movie, so stick around for that. And see you next time on the same bat time and same bat channel. Thank you.